At a family barbecue, the crackle of the fire pit was louder than the laughter. I knew it because silence lived in my chest, and silence has sharper ears than joy. The moment came suddenly. My brother-in-law's voice cut through the evening like a blade dipped in venom. "A bastard like him doesn't deserve to eat." Before I could register the words, his hands shoved my son forward. My boy's small frame teetered dangerously close to the open pit, the flames reaching out as if eager to consume. I lunged, hands clawing the air, catching him before the fire could swallow him whole. His terrified sobs pierced me, but what gutted me was not his scream, it was hers, my wife. Standing still, wineglass in hand, eyes colder than the night. "Uncle is right," she said, voice steady, void of hesitation. "He's worthless. Worthless." The fire didn't burn me, but her words did. That was the first moment I understood. The warmth I thought I lived inside was an illusion. The barbecue was only a stage. The real feast was betrayal. I played the role of the dutiful husband, smiling, clinking glasses, brushing off the scene with a laugh as if it was just another of my brother-in-law's drunken eruptions. No one saw the way my hand trembled when I placed the plate of meat back down. But inside, something split. Her words echoed like a curse. Worthless. Said about her own child. Said in defense of a man who had tried to kill him. It didn't make sense. Unless... I watched them the rest of the evening, small glances, quiet familiarity, a hand brushing too close when she passed him the salad, the way his eyes held hers for too long. I told myself I was paranoid, that grief inside me was twisting my perception. Yet, when she leaned over to whisper something in his ear and he smirked, I knew. I didn't show it. I laughed when they laughed. I cleaned the plates. I kissed my wife's cheek when guests left. But my silence was not surrender. It was the beginning of the investigation. The first step was subtle. A hairbrush, a strand, a swab. My son's DNA sent quietly to a lab, under a false name. The second step was observation. Her phone left on the nightstand, screen glowing with half-seen messages. His name appearing too often. Deleted threads. Numbers saved under false initials. The third step was patience. At dinner, I watched her chew. I watched her lips move over the same mouth that had once whispered devotion into my ear, now speaking casually about work, about bills, about nothing. I smiled. I nodded. I let her believe nothing had shifted. At night, I lay beside her, her breathing steady, unaware of the storm waiting in my chest. Every day was a performance, every gesture rehearsed, while inside, my mind mapped out the truth like a surgeon preparing for incision. The report arrived quietly, a sealed envelope. My hands didn't tremble when I opened it. I had already braced for the blow. The boy I had saved from the fire, the boy she had called worthless, he was not mine. He was his. That evening I set the paper on the table. Between us. No words. She picked it up, her eyes scanning, lips tightening, color draining from her face. The glass of wine in her hand shook, spilling a crimson drop onto the page like blood. Her voice cracked first. But I didn't let her finish. "Don't waste lies," I said softly, calm, detached. "It's beneath you." Her hands trembled. Her mask faltered. Tears began to form, desperate, wild, reaching for excuses. But she couldn't. The truth was printed in black ink, undeniable, final. Her sobs filled the room, sharp, frantic. Mine were absent. My face remained still, because I had already mourned. This was not grief. This was confirmation. I invited him over the next day, my brother-in-law, the man who had tried to burn the boy who bore his own blood. When he arrived, she was already there. I set the report between them again, like a weapon polished for display. Neither spoke at first. His eyes scanned, his jaw stiffened. She looked at him, then at me, then collapsed into pleading silence. I leaned back in my chair, calm. My son played in the next room, unaware. "You called him worthless," I said, voice low. "You nearly let him die. Your own child." The silence cracked them open. She broke down, sobbing, reaching across the table. He sat frozen, shame heavy on his skin, unable to meet my eyes. I didn't rage. I didn't shout. I simply stood, collected the report, and walked toward the door. "You wanted him erased," I said, pausing in the doorway, "but I'll make sure he remembers. Not me, you." The look on her then, raw horror, the realization that her betrayal would not vanish, that it would live on in memory, was more devastating than any scream. I left them there, shattered, in the home they had poisoned together. I did not go back. Rented a small place, sparse, quiet. My son's laughter filled its corners, free of fire and venom. He did not yet know the weight of truth. One day he would. I would not tell him with anger. I would not curse her name. I would only give him facts. Let him decide what she meant to him. As for me, I felt nothing, not rage, not sorrow, only clarity. They thought betrayal would break me. But betrayal is a mirror. It shows you who someone truly is. And once you see it, you cannot unsee. The last image I carry of her is not her face. It is her voice at the fire, calling my son worthless. That is who she is. That is who she will always be. And me? I walked out of the flames, untouched.